What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Last night in the NHL playoffs, the Edmonton Oilers defeated the Dallas Stars 3-2 in double overtime to take Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in Dallas. Phenomenal game. Edmonton went up 2-1 going to the third period. Dallas scored a goal off a kind of a lucky bounce on a rebound. Tyler Seguin, who had 2 in the game, like 3.5 or maybe or so, like a little over 4 minutes, about 3.5 minutes to go in the third period. Overtime came and went, and then early on, double overtime, McDavid off a deflection gets the game-winning goal. Phenomenal game. Now, both goalies, Jake Ottinger and Stuart Skinner on Edmonton's side, both made some phenomenal saves. Ottinger absolutely robbed McDavid late in the first overtime for sprawling stick save. Phenomenal game. The Oilers come out on top 3-2 in double overtime. And then on the NBA side, for the playoff, the Boston Celtics take Game 2 against Indiana Pacers, winning 126-110. 40 points for Jaylen Brown. Huge game for him, dropping 40. As Boston takes both games at TD Garden to start the series. They go up 2-0 going to Indiana. And this is going to be tough for Indiana to come back. You got, like I said, you had Game 1 in the palm of your hands. You had a lot of bad turnovers late in that game. Up 3 with 10 seconds left. You don't call a timeout, advance the ball. Siakam drops it on the inbound, and you give up the free about 6 seconds ago or so to Jaylen Brown. And then you call timeout, advance the ball, but then you don't do a good enough job drawing up a proper play. You had time, to get a bucket before the end of regulation. Halliburton, chucked up that just awful shot from 3, contest 3, and then of course at that point you didn't have any momentum, losing overtime, then you lose in Game 2. And now Halliburton's hurt. He's got a sore leg. He got hurt in the game. So he got hurt. Now Carl says he's sore right now, so we don't know his status for Game 3 or the rest of the series, for that matter. So if they don't have Halliburton, they're probably going to get swept, to be honest. But if they have him, you think, all right, if you take one in Indiana, I still don't see how you gain much traction in the series. Down 3-1 going back to Boston is not ideal at all. I mean, if you have him and you're able to somehow take both, which will be easier said than done, but not impossible, to go to Boston, now you have a shot. But unless they get both in Indiana, I don't see how they win the series. I don't see how they even get to a 6th game. But moving on, the NBA announced the all defensive teams and the all NBA teams as well. The first all defense team is in the NBA is Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert, Herb Jones, and Bam Adebayo. And the second team was Alex Caruso, Drew Holiday, Jalen Suggs, Derek White, and Jamie McDaniels. For the first team, you had pretty much all bigs and Herb Jones a wing. Second team was basically all guards, and then Jamie McDaniels, who's a wing. It's kind of the way it worked out. But, obviously you had to have Wembanyama on there. Obviously, Gobert was the defensive player of the year. I thought she would win Wembanyama, but those were the top 2 guys. Adebayo was a final, so you had to have him on there. You had AD did a great job. He's here defensively. You can make a case that he should have been the final defensive player of the year over Bam Adebayo, to be honest. But both of those we have the first team, and Herb Jones is also a great defender. And Alex Caruso was a phenomenal defender. He was first team all defense last year. He gets on the second team this year. Obviously, Celtics had a couple of guys having Holiday and Derek White on there. And of course, Jamie McDaniels, who I had a case to win Defensive Player of the Year last year. Wasn't even the finalist for the award. And he gets second team all defense this year. And to be honest, and when Anthony said they got KD, but we got Jamie McDaniels who can guard him, he wasn't kidding. That guy is a phenomenal defender, and he is a really good basketball player. And I didn't have too much of a problem with the defensive teams. So on to the All-NBA teams. The first team was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Nikola Jokic. The second team was Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. And the third team was Devin Booker, Stephen Curry, Tyrese Halliburton, LeBron, and Domantas Sabonis. Couple things with this. The first team I think they got right. I know, I think that's pretty accurate. Some people, I know Brunson actually almost made the first team. I was very happy that he made second team, as much as I would love for him to be in the first team. Second team was probably the correct answer. I do think there was a case to have him over Jason Tatum on the first team, but overall, I think they got the first team right. Obviously, you had to have Jokic on there, had to have Shai on there, and Luka. I just realized Luka's a 5-time first team All NBA guy. He's got it's in first 6 seasons. First of all, that's more than Stephen Curry's only made the first team 5 times in his career, which is crazy. On the second team, I'm not sure if we should have put Kawhi on the second team. I think it's a bit of a stretch. Even Anthony Davis. Well, not having Jaylen Brown on the All NBA team, then I think it's a mistake. I'm sorry. Why put LeBron on the All NBA team? He did not deserve. Last year, he was on the third team. I kind of understood it, but should he have been? I don't think he should have been on it this year. I think Jaylen Brown should have been the third team over LeBron James, but it's LeBron, so NBA loves to lick his ass. Sorry, but it's true. If I didn't put him on, LeBron would have been complaining, and they probably didn't want to deal with that. That's honestly what I think happened. Overall, probably the only warts I probably had were having Kawhi on it. Having Kawhi on the second team, and then LeBron over Jaylen Brown on the third team. Everything else, I think, was pretty accurate. I'm not sure who I would have swapped out Kawhi for. I'm not sure if I do it by position or not. It should really just be like first team All NBA should be the 5 best players. Second team should be the next 5. Third team should be the 5. I would have probably put Kawhi on the third team instead. I might have moved up somebody. Maybe you move up Devin Booker, or I think even in the case you move up to the bonus. That's the All NBA teams that they decided to go with, and definitely Jaylen Brown should have been on there over LeBron James. And with these guys getting All NBA nominees, a couple of these guys that a lot of times in guys' contracts, they are able to get supermax contracts opposed to max contracts when they make All NBA. For example, by making first team All NBA, Luka Doncic next summer is now eligible for a 5-year, $346 million extension. Would be the highest, would make him the highest paid player in NBA history. I know Jaylen Brown just signed for 304. Now Tatum, I believe, is eligible for something crazy. It's even more than Brown. And then now Luka next summer is going to be eligible for 346. Tyrese Halliburton is now eligible for 5 years, $204 million this offseason. Anthony Edwards is offseason eligible for 5 years, $245 million. Apparently, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now is going to be eligible for a contract worth $80 million a year. That's crazy. So Halliburton will get 204. Edwards will get 245. Tatum will get like I think it's like 345 or something. Looks like Luke's gonna get 346 next year, and probably after that, Shai looks like it's gonna get. Shai might get. I mean, $40 million over 5 years is what? 80 million over 5 years. That's what, $400 million. I heard with the new media rights deal, NBA players could make up to $95 million a year. I mean, if Shai's getting 400, you think Wembanyama 2 or 3 years? Oh my god, Wembanyama might push $500 million. It's crazy. Money the NBA guys are getting is crazy. Because the new CBA rule, you're kind of like you're either giving out this huge $300 million max contracts to guys who aren't even the best player on their own teams at times. May not have been out of the second round of the playoffs, or you're not making anything. That's the way it is. The tax rate brings down. It's very hard to build a team in the NBA, and you got to either overpay a guy drastically, or you have to let him walk or trade him and basically start over. So it's very tough. But yesterday, the Cleveland Cavaliers fired J.B. Bickerstaff, which I do not agree with whatsoever. I thought he did a good job with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was there for 5 years, had a significantly above average record. Overall, I think he was a good coach. Now he started as an assistant in Memphis. Then he became the interim coach when they fired Dave Fisday, I believe, a couple of years back. He kept the full-time job for a year. They weren't great. The team was terrible. They fired him. And then he got the Cleveland job. Oh, he was the assistant when they had John Beeline, the longtime Michigan coach, on that 5-year deal. That just disastrous tenure, less like half a year. He was an avid player, so like eventually he left and they promoted Bickerstaff. He's helped turn that team around, go into a complete culture change. And Cleveland's had a lot of injuries this year, and then they still kept them afloat. They were one of the best defensive teams in the league, still able to get the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, and were able to win a playoff series. He had them trending in the right direction, and now they're getting rid of them. I know that they were considering doing it after last year, and I kind of understood why he did. He was not coached in that first round by Tom Thibodeau in New York Knicks last year. Seriously, you probably should have won in 6. You lost in 5. Not a good look, but you stuck with them. And this year, they overall had a pretty good year. You beat Orlando in 7, but then you lose to the Boston Celtics in 5 games in the conference semifinals. You got to remember, Jared Allen missed pretty much the entire playoffs. Donovan Mitchell didn't play in the last 2 games against the Boston Celtics. Yeah, other guys who missed time in the playoff. Yeah, guys missed a lot of time throughout the regular season as well. Allen, Mobley, Mitchell missed time in the regular season. So, and for a while they were the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference, even with all those injuries. So, I thought he did a very good job for them this year. Overall, I think he's a good coach. I hope he gets another shot somewhere else. I know Washington is still open. Obviously, the Lakers' job is still open. From what I've heard, Detroit might come open. That's a desirable job. We'll get to that very shortly. But apparently they're looking at Kenny Atkinson, the assistant in Golden State, who definitely deserves a second chance to be a head coach. I thought he did a good job in Brooklyn. Another guy that Durant got fired. But and then I think they're looking at maybe James Borrego, the assistant in New Orleans. He was previously in Charlotte as a head coach. I thought did a serviceable job considering what he had to work with. He's now assistant in Charlotte. He's also a candidate for the Lakers job as well, though Pure JJ Redick is a finalist for that job. So part of me thinks maybe they're trying to bring back LeBron again. Maybe they'll hire a guy that he wants. So you wonder what they're looking to JJ Redick, maybe James Borrego, who's a candidate for the Lakers job, but they have let go of JB Bickerstaff. It's crazy the amount of coaching turnover in the NBA. It's kind of wild how it works. You got guys like Jimmy Bickerstaff and Mike Budenholzer and Frank Vogel are getting fired left and right. Meanwhile, Billy Donovan and Ty Lue and Schulte Billups are still coaches in the league. I don't get that at all. Before we move on, I have a message for the WNBA. So, Charlotte Barkley, he had a little rant. He called up the player for being petty with Caitlin Clark, and I agree with him. Charles Barkley obviously is known for being, very, he obviously lets his opinion be known. He's obviously very funny, party inside the NBA career. I don't always agree with him, but this time I do. Y'all did not have, these charter flights before Caitlin Clark came along. So you can thank her for that. All this added revenue that you have, that's also she came into the league. You got teams making like $2 million in revenue now. I think that just happened. That's because of her. Sellouts every night. That's because of her. All this added attention is because of her. So can you guys stop being so petty with her? You're going to make her unhappy because she's out there to save a franchise in Indiana Fever, just to save the whole league. That's a lot of pressure on 22-year-old kid. So chill out a minute, and also injuries. That was such an unnecessary tweet saying, "Oh, we gotta win. No thanks to one play against charter flights." Like, shut up. I'm sorry. You need to shut the hell up. Okay, that's just such a pathetic thing to say. Okay, great. 2 years ago, you beat her in national championship, but guess what? She beat you in the Elite Eight this year. So shut up. Okay, give me a freaking break with that. Oh, crap. What a joke. But Carolina Hurricanes, their GM Don Waddell has just stepped down after 10. He was the GM for 6 years and 10 years as the president. He became the president 10 years ago. They made him the GM as well 6 years ago, and he just stepped down. The assistant general manager Eric Tulsky He's now the interim GM as they look for a replacement. He's been with the team since 2015 season. So as an analyst, became the director of analytics in 2018, and then 2021 they made him the assistant GM. I mean, Carolina, they built a very good team over there. You see all the homegrown talent they got: Andrei Svechnikov, Tuvo Teravainen, Sebastian Aho. And also they brought in some guys. Seth Jarvis is another homegrown guy. And then they brought in some veteran pieces like Fred Organson as their goaltender, and Brent Burns is an old defenseman they have, and this year you made him move to get Jake Gunsel, you made him move to getting Kent Kuznetsov up a deadline. Two more homegrown guys, or Brett Pesky's another homegrown guy, and there's another defenseman whose name I can't remember, who's also very good over there. They also have. You brought in some more defensemen, I believe. Brady Shea is another guy that is a solid defenseman that you brought in a couple of years ago. So they have a very good team. He obviously Rod Brendamore was a Stanley Cup champion with the Canes as a player. 2006 has been your coach the last 6 years. You just extended him after his contract expired. Like you're gonna move on from him. But they have been able to get out of the second round for the most part. Last year got to the conference finals, and then he got swept by Florida. So you've got to win a game beyond the second round of the playoffs. So at some point you gotta do a little better than that. Like the Los Angeles Clippers of the or maybe even the Philadelphia 76ers of the NHL. Ton of talent. They always do really well in the regular season. First round, no problem. They take care of business against an inferior opponent, but then they face a team that's on the same level playing field as them. In the second round, they can't get it done. Obviously, lost in 6 games to the Rangers in the conference semifinals. You went down 3-0, then you win the next 2, then you blow a 3-1 lead in the last 13 minutes of that third period at home. Oh, and 2 years prior, the Rangers beat you, came back down 3-1, beat you 5-0 on your home ice in Game 7, and you were a much better team than the Rangers that year. So it's every year with them. I wonder if the owners told them, all right, we're gonna move on, but out of respect, we'll let you step down. I'm not sure if it was one of those cases, or if maybe he was like, you know what, I've done all I can. I've drafted a lot of good young players. I've hired a coach in Brendan Moore who's done a good job in developing them. I've trying to give you guys a piece you need. Giving up all they gave up to get Jake Gunsel, giving up all they gave up to get getting Kuznetsov up to this year. I've gone out and signed some big name trades like Frederick Anderson, and Brent Burns, Brady Shea, and all these other guys, and they haven't been able to get past the second round. He just extended Brendan Moore, the coach. Maybe he's like, look, there's not much more I can do. So we'll see where they go from there. But he is no longer the GM, no longer with the team. He has stepped down. And for 10 years as the president, 6 years as the GM and president. And the assistant GM, Eric Tulsky, is the interim GM for now. Speaking of GMs, changing teams, going over to the basketball world, the Detroit Pistons are finalizing a deal to hire Pelicans GM Trahan Langdon to be their president of basketball operations. Of course, they've been looking to hire a president of basketball operations ahead of GM Troy Weaver, and they are finalizing a deal with him. They're working on the contract yesterday. I assume that will be finalized very shortly. He started in San Antonio as a scout in their scouting department. Then he became the assistant GM of the Brooklyn Nets. And then last year, he's been the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans. He's now going to be the president of basketball operations in Detroit. Overall, I think he's done a good job in New Orleans. Zion, that was the right pick at the time. But he's healthy. He's been good, if nothing else. Obviously, making that trade, the Anthony Davis trade, although Davis, when healthy, has been great in LA. A lot of injuries he's getting. He got Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Ball, and 4 first-round picks back. Obviously, Lonzo didn't stick long-term. Josh Hart is no longer with the team. They gave him a bunch of draft picks to send him to the Knicks last year. But Ingram has become a big piece for them. You got a lot of draft picks back, and then you trade back once you get one time, got even more picks. You've put a decent team on the court. Look at that Pelicans team with, Valanciunas was a good signing. You have Ingram, CJ McCollum was a good trade that you made. Him, you stole Jose Alvarado from I don't even nowhere. So overall, they actually have a very good team. Even Devontae Graham at one point was a guy you had who was pretty good. So overall, he's done a good job. I mean, also yes, he also wants a ball, but not paying him was honestly the right thing to do because he has not played in 3 years because his knees are not working correctly after he's had that surgery. I heard Troy Weaver could get fired if Langley wants to let him go. Also, Monty Williams, who has $60 million left on that $7 million contract he signed last year with the Pistons, could get fired. Apparently, Langley will have the final say in whether he wants to keep or fire the GM and the coach. Weaver, I mean, he's drafted relatively well. It took Cade first overall. Ivy 5th overall. I think there's some potential there. Durham 10th overall. I think was a good pick. We'll see what happens with Alsar. He took 5th overall last year. But just other than that, paying Bojan Bogdanovic really wasn't that smart of a move. Paying Alec Burks wasn't really that smart of a move. Giving up 5 second-round picks for James Wiseman hasn't really worked out. I mean, why he hiring Dwayne Casey backfired. They threw way too much money on Monty Williams. That was a disastrous mistake. Is overall, that team, I said before, the team is very oddly built. You got 2 young guards, one who looks like he's going to be really, really good in Cade, one we don't really know yet in Jaden Ivey. Then you have a small forward who can't shoot and don't have a stretch 4. So I kind of, hide that, and to make up for that, even though you have like 3 or 4 big men on that team, you have Wiseman, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren. You had Marvin Bagley until the season, until you let him go. So it might not be a bad idea to make a change. I mean, they've won 31 games in the last 2 years combined. 31 wins is not enough games to get you into the play-in a terrible Eastern Conference. And they've done that across 2 seasons combined. They won 17 games last year. This year won just 14. At one point, they had lost 28 straight basketball games. Absolutely just pathetic. Very, very bad. Monty, I've always thought he's overrated. He was okay in New Orleans. Okay. Phoenix, I thought he was decent, but he also couldn't get to Game 7 of the conference semifinals with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton. A lot of that was more on the players. But still, got to do a little better than that. Losing by 25 at home in Game 6. I guess the Denver Nuggets were really good, but still, at one point they were down by like 40, losing by like 45, whatever it was. In the conference semifinals against an inferior Dallas Mavericks team the year prior, just not good enough. He blew a 2-0 lead in the finals a few years ago against Milwaukee. So just not good enough. Not at all. He's not. He's an overrated coach to me. I mean, if they had given like a normal 4-year deal for normal head coach money, okay, fine. He did inherit a mess, to be honest, though he has not done a good enough job. But to make him one of the highest paid coaches in the league is just obscene to me. Before we close this thing out, big news came through. The NCAA settled with schools for $2.7 billion. That this will allow teams to pay players. I mean, the term amateurism has now completely gone out the window. Of course, amateurism was a term that meant like amateur athletes could not be directly paid. Of course, with NIL, they can make money off their name, image, and likeness. They can sign sponsorship deals, things like that, and get money that way. But they couldn't actually get paid. Now they can. So college players, grad high school, can now get paid. Crazy. Not sure how much I agree with it. Yes, the NCAA has made a crap ton of money off all these players for years and years and years and years. The NIL and fine them as long as it's regulated properly. It arguably is or isn't. You can make the case for both sides on that one. But paying 17, 18-year-olds right out of high school, giving 17, 18-year-old kids who may have never really who may already be entitled as it is, millions of dollars just is a recipe for the disaster. But that's what's going to be happening now. I might go a little bit deeper into that in the coming days and weeks, but that's what the deal is with the NCAA, which it's a crazy landmark a breakthrough that happened. Right. All right. So we got guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.